Hello, everyone. So I know being a young person, it is somewhat hard in light of the fact that you will generally need nearly all that it's like, indeed, you would like to go out and travel. Indeed. You need to go to Coachella? Indeed. You need to, I don't know, purchase another PC, however those things are costly. As a youngster, you additionally will generally need a great deal of easily overlooked details. Perhaps it's Spotify Premium or new garments or new iPhone cases or perhaps another satchel. I don't have any idea. However, the thing is we will more often than not need a ton of things, and it's truly difficult to set something aside for the large things. Assuming you're continuously spending it on the seemingly insignificant details. Thus for the present video, I chose to impart to you folks 15 methods for assisting you with setting aside cash collectively. Number 1, I suggest that you tape something that you truly need or that you're putting something aside for in your wallet, or perhaps put it as your lock screen on your telephone. So essentially it's about to continually advise you that you are attempting to put something aside for something, and most likely make you reconsider without fail. Do you truly need to purchase this thing? Number 2, I certainly prescribe to pack your own food and tidbits. Presently I know for the vast majority of us, perhaps you don't pack sufficient food and you're presumably going to get ravenous. And afterward, assuming you have some additional money in your wallet, you will spend it on perhaps a candy machine. Assuming you're similar to in secondary everyday schedule, you will go out and simply purchase something. I know for me, lunch can fluctuate around $8, and suppose you're burning through $8 each and every day, regardless of whether it's only for like 4 days, it will include that cash that you spend on food might have gone to anything you're putting something aside for. Number 3, search for coupons on the web. Presently, before you hit that checkout button on the web, I certainly suggest looking through Google. Whether there may be any coupons lying around on the grounds that occasionally, particularly for specific occasions, a few web-based stores will more often than not have certain promotion codes for specific occasions, as perhaps St. Patrick's Day, Christmas, Workday, Memorial Day. Fundamentally most occasions, they have a coupon, and no one can say for sure in the event that you don't mind Google, particularly assuming they have a bulletin or attempt to pursue that. Number 4, look out for an arrangement for specific cinemas of some sort or another. Like I realize AMC, it's generally I think film tickets are about half off assuming you're watching it before 12 o'clock. So perhaps in the event that you are going with companions, you ought to prescribe heading out to the cinemas like before 12 and afterward presumably eat subsequently. Or on the other hand, even with understudy ID, certainly look at whether certain stores have understudy limits. Like I realize Top Shop has like 10% off. On the off chance that you show them your understudy ID and you never realize, you may be simply getting your TECHS off. Number 5, show restraint before you begin to purchase something. Presently, I'm not saying that you shouldn't buy something since you're putting something aside for something different, greater. I'm trying to say that you want to pursue a really educated choice prior to purchasing something, and ensure that you quite need it since you are putting something aside for something. Presently, suppose you for reasons unknown need another watch. Like essentially this was for me for my situation, and it's really costly, yet you're putting something aside for something different, greater. Number 6, pay with cash. Presently I know more often than not, particularly when you're similar to in your more youthful teenagers, you're likely not going to have your own Visa or a check card in the event you truly do continuously pay with cash on the grounds that basically while you're paying with cash, you can see it and you can feel that you are parting with cash and you're losing cash. Furthermore, it's not a similar inclination while you're utilizing like a check card or a MasterCard, even a gift voucher. At some point, since it seems like you're simply swiping and you don't really feel like you're losing cash. Number 7, I suggest that you get some sort of compartment, perhaps some sort of shoebox, or on the other hand, to make it charming, get a mason container and basically put in $1 each and every day, or perhaps some spare change. By doing that, you will make it add up, regardless of whether it's simply $1. Number 8, perhaps assuming you will go out on the town, or on the other hand, if you simply have any desire to spend time with companions, I certainly prescribe going to places that are free. Presently I know for Los Angeles, we really do have a huge load of free places to go to. Despite the fact that this spot is truly costly, similar to there are galleries, for example, the Broad that you can go to, and it's totally free, as well as perhaps Getty Villa or LACMA on specific days. Number 9. Perhaps you will go spend time with your companions. I most certainly suggest sharing or perhaps parting your food with them. Presently, I know for the instance of Starbucks, I've never really attempted this hack myself, yet I've seen it around Pinterest. Also, essentially you simply request like a venti something, perhaps split it with your companion and afterward get like one more tall cup, and afterward split it into two since costing like two something is presumably going. Furthermore, that is much less expensive than purchasing your own tall refreshment. Number 10, I certainly prescribe reusing and refurbishing things to be new. So fundamentally, this applies to nearly all that. Like suppose, summer is coming up and you want new shorts. Do you truly require new jean shorts? Particularly on the off chance that you go to like spots like Hollister, their shorts costs equivalent to like the normal pants at times. So rather than doing that, simply glance through your garments and perhaps you have a few additional pants that you don't actually wear as much any longer, and just cut them and you can make your own shorts. You don't need to purchase another pair, simply don't attempt to track down reasons to purchase new things. At the point when you can in any case utilize your old things. Number 11, essentially DIY it, which is somewhat connected with the past tip as opposed to purchasing a lip scour from like Rich or Target or just any place. Just DIY it, as perhaps blend like honey and olive oil and sugar, and you have your own lip clean. As it does likewise correct thing. Same thing with facial coverings. Like I realize facial coverings at Rich are like boon. Like they are perfect, however at that point again they can be really expensive. So rather than purchasing a facial covering, just DIY it. Fundamentally go on YouTube or even Pinterest to look up DIY facial covering. Like there are a ton of choices in any event, for like different skin types and going to set aside a great deal of cash. Number 12, essentially cut out any pointless spending. Periodically you never at any point realize that it's really a fundamental until you truly assess what you're spending your cash on. Indeed, even with the instance of Starbucks, do you generally need to get Starbucks each and every day? You can most likely limit that to perhaps 2 times per week, perhaps as a treat you don't have to get Starbucks each and every day, basically attempt to list pretty much each and everything that you spend your cash on. Simply reconsider whether you really need that like each and every time, as perhaps you like to purchase books and I likewise like going to Barnes and Respectable and taking a gander at their books. Yet do I purchase those books? No, I don't. I go to the library and I acquire those books since I realize it's about to wind up on my shelf gathering dust basically. Number 13, consistently get tests. Like perhaps most places probably won't have tests, however I know on account of like Sephora or Rich, you can continuously get tests of their items. Like particularly for Sephora, perhaps you need to attempt that sort of establishment or preliminary or whatever, simply get an example first. Also, more often than not their examples are really similar to a great deal for that specific item. Like I as of late got tests of like 2 unique preliminaries and I feel like particularly for me, I don't wear cosmetics like consistently or anything. That preliminary will keep going me for quite a while. Number 14, attempt to utilize non-exclusive brands or perhaps go pharmacy assuming you will purchase cosmetics, particularly with regards to like conventional brands. Like perhaps assuming you go to Focus as opposed to purchasing like the name brand choice. Why not simply purchase like the non-exclusive objective brand, since they're fundamentally exactly the same thing as it were. It's simply you believe that the name brand is better since it's a name brand, it's in a real sense exactly the same thing as an objective one. Actually look at the fixings at exactly the same thing. Number 15, simply tell your folks and companions, and doubtlessly they will continually remind you to set aside cash, particularly your folks. I know for like my folks, they will annoy me about it. If I have any desire to purchase something and afterward they'll very much make me so disappointed that I simply don't have any desire to get it any longer. So basically they will continually remind you to set aside cash and you're bound to set aside cash since then you have that care group. And that is fundamentally it during the current week's video. Ideally it gave you a few thoughts concerning how you should set aside your cash. Perhaps on the grounds that you're putting something aside for something huge. Like I realize I'm attempting to put something aside for an excursion to Europe, yet it will take large chunk of change. Kindly offer this video a major go ahead and buy into my channel. If you found this video helpful, make sure to give it a thumb up and share with your friend. Thank you for watching.